is mailbag time here on Falcons Today. It's your guys' opportunity to dictate the show flow and what we talk about. So I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which airs on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to like the video as we begin our mailbag today. We're going to get into our first question coming in via Dale Hauser. Could Kirk lying about an injury be a possible breach of contract? That's a great question, Dale, and it's one that I'm sure Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk will write an article about. I don't think so. I don't know if it's in a contract that you have to report an injury. It'll also be quite the double standard given how many times teams have players play through injuries, and now they're mad he didn't play through or he did play through an injury. So I don't think it's a breach of contract, but it's not a bad thought, Dale. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a good answer for you other than my gut tells me no. That one Falcons fan. What are the chances the Falcons get Myles Garrett post-2025 draft, which allows us to use the 15th pick on either Mike Green or trade back for another pass rusher, then we trade our 2026 first? Not a bad thought and not a low probability. Myles Garrett's contract has a big dead cap hit if he's traded pre-June 1. So from a financial standpoint, it's in Cleveland's best interest if they do trade him to do it post-June 1. The issue with that, though, is the GM for the Browns, Andrew Berry. If he trades Myles Garrett after a 3-win season, his seat is going to go beyond a boiling point. And if they don't have a good 2025 year, he's going to get fired. So will Andrew Berry trade Myles Garrett after June 1, or most importantly, after the NFL draft, get picks that he never sees because he got fired? Just like the Raiders GM who traded Khalil Mack right before the start of the season, got a bunch of picks that he never saw. That's my biggest hurdle when it comes to the idea of a team trading for Garrett after June 1st. Browns GM would be an idiot to trade him after June 1 unless he was guaranteed to have a job after 2025 no matter what. But if that were to be the case, then yeah, this is a great plan, that one, Falcons fan. Stephen W. Since Denzel Ward said he still want to play with Garrett, do you think there's any chance we could get both? Or even just one or the other? Well, we talked about Denzel Ward on a video we did a few days ago now, depending on when you're watching this, regarding Kirk Cousins and Adam Schefter's thoughts on that. The probability of getting both, no. I think Myles Garrett goes for 2 firsts and a third. I think Denzel Ward goes for a second. They are both great players. I don't see the Falcons parting ways with 2 firsts, a second, and a third. I think that's just too rich. Even if they're told these guys are going to play at a high level for you, like if someone from the future came and said, listen, Myles Garrett's going to have 15 sacks, Denzel Ward's going to have 3 picks, Atlanta still might feel like we can't part ways with the future of the team for 2 players who are closing in on 30-ish, not quite there yet, and have had some injury history the last 2 years. So the probability, very low. 1, I think, is possible, and I would think it's Garrett before Ward. Jesse Joyner, trade idea. Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins for Brian Burns and a second-round pick. No, the Giants are not trading Brian Burns away. They just acquired him. They gave him a huge contract. I don't believe they plan to move on from him after 1 season. Even though it was a bad year for New York from a win-loss perspective, Brian Burns played good football in the Meadowlands. I don't see the Giants going away from Brian Burns. So, no, I would not get your hopes up on this one. Maybe next offseason, if it's 2 straight bad years for New York, then I could see that trade coming to fruition. Kirko Chains, everyone's favorite man in Atlanta right now. Any chance the Falcons trade for Jaire Alexander? Okay, so another cornerback trade idea. So Jaire Alexander, the Packers corner, 18th overall pick, I think it was, out of Louisville, has been a little disappointing as of late for Green Bay. Let's start right there. We can look, I think we might have his stats. If we do have his stats, that'd be awesome. We can look at his stats, and yeah, we do. Okay. So the last 2 seasons, he's played a total of 14 games. The lack of availability is a major red flag for a team trading for him. You're the GM. You're parting ways with a premium draft pick for someone who over 2 seasons has not even combined to play 1 full season. In fact, take it one step further, look at 3 out of his last 4 years. He has missed over half of the season. I've got a tough time believing the Falcons are going to part ways with a good draft pick for Jaire. But if the Packers are really motivated to move on, because there's been some friction in the locker room. Remember, they suspended him for a game after he self-appointed himself as a captain when they played in Charlotte and he wanted to be the captain in his hometown. So I think there's some friction between Alexander and the front office and the coaching staff. So if they're like, we just want to move on from this guy, take him for a 5th, a 6th, we don't care, then I'd be kind of interested. Like if it doesn't work out, all right, worst case scenario, you're out a 5th or 6th round draft pick, which Atlanta has neither at the moment, but whatever, that's a problem for another day. At that point, I'm in. Anything more than that, no. Hard no for me. But if it's like a Jeff Okudah trade, former top draft pick and just a lot of injuries, doesn't work out, all right, like 5th round pick, it was worth the gamble. I always will respect the front office for at least trying rather than sitting on their hands going, no, we're too afraid. Archangel, you're on the show, buddy. When will we have a in live at a sports bar in Atlanta watch party of a Falcons game with our best guy, Pete? Archangel, that warms my heart up. I don't have a great answer for you, like a date. The tough thing with the job here at Chat Sports is Sundays are the biggest day of the week. And a big reason why is we do watch parties. And we need to have like a studio to do a watch party. It's not impossible to do it from a sports bar, but it's not as great of a product from watching on your screen compared to in the studio with the camera. And we're not in a loud sports bar where I'm yelling and things like that. But it's been done before. Our Raiders guy has gone to Vegas. He's been invited out there to do one. He was invited to do a watch party week 1 from Charlotte. So it's not a 0% chance, but we would need to, get a lot of boxes checked from the higher-ups, the suits. Vincent Cuts. Do the Falcons go after Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack? Bosa's got 1 more year left on this deal. I think the Chargers are going to hold on to him. Khalil Mack is a free agent. That seems like a more viable path. Bosa would require a trade. Mack just is a free agent. I think the Falcons could look at him as a better option than Joey Bosa. So I think they will pursue Khalil Mack. I think they could try and sell him on a role of, listen, at this stage in your career, we're not asking you to play 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down and stop the run. We want to bring you over. We plan to play you 50% of defensive snaps and put you on the field for 3rd down or 2nd and long, pin your ears back and get after the quarterback. And if you can give us 7 to 9 sacks, that is a success for both parties. Hopefully hopeful. Thanks for all the content, guys. You're very welcome. Do you think the news of Kirk's injury will do anything for a potential trade, or is the needle still solidly on cut? No team's going to trade for him. Unless, the Browns trade Myles Garrett to Atlanta, and the Falcons are like, do you want Kirk Cousins? And Kirk agrees to the trade because there's no trade clause. And Kirk also agrees to rip up his contract. That's the only way I see him getting traded. I think he is just going to be released. I think he's going to be released on the 1st day of the new league year. The Falcons are not going to pay him a $10 million roster bonus for being on the roster on the 5th day of the new league year. You can print it out, quote me, put it on your wall. Kirk Cousins will be released officially on the 1st day of the new league year. It might be announced a few days beforehand. More questions in just a moment, but today's show made possible thanks to Game Time. Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Carson, what's going on, my guy? What would be your sleeper picks for round 1 and 2 of the NFL draft? Carson, I fucking love this question. I love sleepers. But, like, sleepers are traditionally like rounds 3 or 4, but I'm not quite there yet. All right, you want a sleeper? How about Darian Porter? It's the Iowa State corner. The guy's 6'4". That is unheard of for a cornerback. And he's not just tall. He won track records in Iowa in high school. So an incredible athlete who started off as a wide receiver and then made the transition over to corner. This is a traits-based pick, which you guys have probably noticed when it comes to draft evaluations. I put a lot of value in production. But when we get to rounds 2, maybe even round 3 a little bit, you're not going to find a boatload of great production. Those guys go in round 1. I'm willing to roll the dice on a more of a traits-based guy in day 2 of the draft. So Darian Porter is one name. Another one, Deion Walker, the Kentucky defensive tackle, 6'7", 300 plus pounds. Again, more of a traits guy, but also he had 7.5 sacks 2 years ago for Big Blue. So those are two players that I think might fall to day 2 of the draft because they're kind of like the cast of The Greatest Showman. There's something weird about them. It's almost like in the movie Moneyball. They don't like him because he has a weird delivery on his pitch. He's a submarine pitcher, right? He's a lefty when he should be a righty. I think there are some upsides to those players that could fall, and we look back and go, why were they round 2 guys? Oh, that's weird. They were nitpicked because they didn't do this well enough. Well, they do it pretty well right now. ZD Productions will draft a tight end first round because the Falcons are the Falcons. I mean, these 2 tight ends are awesome this year. Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren. I think Colston Loveland gives me Sam Laporta vibes. I think Tyler Warren, he doesn't give me George Kittle vibes because Kittle's such a monster of a blocker. But maybe, I don't want to say Kelsey because that's just too high of a bar. I got to think of a better tight end comp. But the 2 tight ends in this draft class that are going to go round 1 or round 2 at the latest are studs. So if you were to trade Kyle Pitts, if I told you they traded Kyle Pitts for a 3rd round pick, then took a tight end in round 1, edge in round 2, corner in round 3, would you be upset with that? I probably wouldn't be over the moon happy, but maybe when the offense puts up 35 points because they have a Pro Bowler, running back, receiver, and tight end, we might, make do with it. Christopher, how many defensive players do you think we will draft and what positions? Well, as of now, they only have 5 picks. I expect them to find a way to accumulate more picks, whether that's trading back, whether that's trading a player. I just don't think they're going to go into the draft with 5 picks. So, let's say they get to 6 picks. I would say they used a lot of picks on defense last year. They used 3 on the front 7. Braylon Trice, Ruka Rororo, and Brandon Dorless. So I don't think they're going to invest in interior defensive line. They have their Grady Jarrett and Onyemata replacement in Rook. At least that's what the intent was with the pick. So I'll say they're going to go edge rusher, corner, probably 1 more defender somewhere else, and then 3 on offense. Maybe draft an offensive tackle. They're kind of due to find a new swing tackle and maybe start planting the seeds to either replace McGarry, who has 1 year left on his deal, or Jake Matthews, who's getting up there in the age column. Or replace Drew Dahlman if he gets signed elsewhere. Robert, can we get defensive end James Pearce from Tennessee and then trade the 2nd and 4th to get back in the 1st to get to like 20 to get cornerback Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame or safety cornerback Jahdae Barron from Texas solve our 2 biggest needs? I do like the idea of approaching the draft is a quality over quantity standpoint when we come to pick evaluation. So I don't poo-poo on the idea of getting 2 first, but you're not going to get back into round 1 with a second that's in the middle and a 4th. That's just not enough. You're going to have to borrow picks from 2026, which you could do. But while I don't hate this idea, I think you should exercise a little bit of patience. See who's available when you get to your pick in round number 2. There's a lot of good DBs in this draft class. So while I do like those 2 guys you brought up, I would say let's wait. I think Xavier Watts could be waiting for you in round 2, or Barron as well. And those are going to be good picks without giving up future draft capital. That's going to do it for us on today's mailbag. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a big fat thumbs up down below, and I'll see you all later.